been there years.
Social Service Committee from March
It's been there
28th.
for the entire time.
I think we started.
First item on the agenda is approving the previous minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I wasn't here, so
A motion, do I hear a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Approved. The next one is number one. I guess Gail is absent.
Yes, she is.
Okay, Ms. Manny's here. Authorizing the submission of a grant application to the New York State Office of Mental Health regarding the Albany County Suicide Prevention Education Committee. I think we have a backup here, hot off the press, indicating that the New York State Office of Mental Health Prevention Program we are going to get the award. $4,500. You want to elaborate on this some more?
Yes, please. Yes, we did apply for the grant funding. It was a short time frame due to the close of the budget. So the Office of Mental Health wanted to distribute this money to suicide prevention coalitions. And Albany County being one of the coalitions that's been in existence since 2009, we were afforded this opportunity. These monies will go towards developing a postvention team, which would be a cross-discipline team that would respond after there is a tragedy of a suicide in the community. We would not only look at children that are completing suicide, but throughout the age spectrum. So this is really a collaboration between departments, including the Department of Mental Health, the Department of Health, and the Department of Aging. We're really trying to look at the needs of individuals across the age spectrum in Albany County. In addition, we're going to be doing some social marketing to really get the word out there that, it's hashtag be the one to save a life. In addition, we really want to get communities involved because it's everyone's job to, have suicide prevention. Everybody takes part in that, and we can prevent suicide. So that's what we would be using the $4,500 for.
Good. Are there any questions or concerns? Do I hear a motion? It's been moved. Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none.
Thank you very
Ms. Manning.
much.
Thank you for coming in. Yes. Okay, we have next up Mr. George Brown, the Aging Department. Okay, Commissioner, number two, authorizing agreement with the New York State Office for the Aging regarding the long-term care point of entry services and memorandum of understanding with the Albany County Department of Social Services. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
At least
evening.
it's not white and we're not shoveling. Okay, we come before you today to seek your approval to enter into an MOU with our Department of Social Services, who operates our New York Connects program, Choices of Long-Term Care, and the point of entry. We're also asking at the same time for you to accept the grant that we've been given from the State Office of the Aging. This is an annual grant. It's the same amount as it's been for the last 3 or 4 years, and it is used by DSS to support salaries that we use for our New York Connects program. It is 100%.
100% Mr. State. Are there any questions? Yes, Mr. Paul.
Commissioner, is there a change in the amount from last year? Is there any growth, or is this the same?
This 62,140 is the same amount that it's been every year.
So there hasn't been any program growth, or?
Not in this particular piece of the grant, no.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Do I hear another question? Any concerns? Do I hear a motion? The motion made, you move it. I hear a second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, good evening. Mike's gonna present, right? Mike McLaughlin? Are you gonna present? Who's presenting? I just got your name here, Mike.
Lisa's here.
Oh, Lisa's here, okay, good. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening, welcome. Number 3, amending resolution number 320 for 2016 regarding the weatherization assistance program and amending the 2016 Cornell Cooperative Extension budget. Lisa?
Yes.
So we're in a current third year, last year of a third year contract. We're seeking an extension of the contract from April till June, and it's adding an additional 38 some odd $1,000 to that. We are in the process of transitioning out of weatherization and offering weatherization services through Cornell Cooperative Extension. The state is looking to consolidate services and do that through single providers in each county.
Yes.
So this helps that transition, helps the staff, helps the clients, helps that new provider agency get off the ground. So,
Did you say a new provider agency?
not new to
Okay.
weatherization, but
Okay.
new to taking over the whole county,
Oh, good.
which is Albany Community Action, Community Partnership.
Expanded, okay. Is there another question? Go ahead, Paul.
Can you tell me how many people were served by this?
Exactly.
This last PY16,
Yeah,
we actually completed 64 units.
64 units. Is there a waiting list?
There is our current waiting list of approved applications. There's about 19 approved, which will be giving over to the new host agency. And we've got about 30 that are pending, that are missing certain documentation that we're in the process.
So you got 19 in the queue and 30 for additional
Yeah.
consideration.
Yep.
Now, when this is consolidated across the county line,
Yep.
will this impact town and city programs that are analogous? For example, you know, I know the town of Paladine gets monies for weatherization.
No, well, all those funds actually are going to be, I'll come up with the table, so so basically what they're taking is the allocation. The allocation's currently split 51-49 between ACAP, which offered the program to the city proper, and Cornell offered it to the outlying areas of the county. All the allocation, 100% of the allocation is now going to be served through ACAP. So any monies that were being allocated to certain townships are now going to be still allocated to that particular area, but it's through the sole proprietor of ACAP now, so.
But it shouldn't affect their other programs. We
Right.
actually seek to maximize the service to each participant. The requirement of weather requires us to look to all the other different supporting projects,
Right.
like Empower and NIMO and other things, so that we can give that consumer the maximum amount of rehab to their home.
Right.
Well, after this, how will people outside the city of Albany,
They'll all go through ACAP,
okay,
Yeah.
and,
and we'll help in that transition to be sure that they get referred there.
okay, but do you work with the towns, cities, and villages? How,
I don't know what they do to serve the cities, but we used to work with all the municipalities in our jurisdiction. Ours were just the rural.
And we've partnered with the RTC. We would look to, we had an MOU with them, so we would provide energy audits for all the CDBG grants, funds that were being spent. So that, I'm sure, can be facilitated very easily. We've worked with DSS as far as trying to, you know, if people were heat recipients, that kind of thing, targeting the high energy users, that kind of stuff, which it's basically it's in the foundation of the weatherization program to be able to go after those as targeted citizens. So I'm sure they've got something that's a part of their marketing outreach as well as the NYSERDA programs. There's similar criteria to be accepted into the program, and they actually have a joint application between a couple different programs, so I'm sure they can create referrals and that means as well.
okay. I wonder if you would be willing to share with the chair, and the chair could
There's no need. Mr. Butchie's been coming here for about a dozen years. He
Oh,
did
yeah?
retire, didn't he?
Yes, he
And I
did.
think we're quite familiar with the HEAT program, Home Energy Assistance Program. It's the same kind of
No,
thing.
that's not what I was
This is another
asking.
extension, yes.
No,
But
what
if you need some more paperwork on it, you do
No,
have
no,
flyers.
no. What I'm asking is, I would like to know how many people and what the geographic distribution of service is for the weatherization funds from the Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Through Cornell.
Because obviously, the city of Albany has its own dedicated program, which gets 51% of the funding, and now we're consolidating all the funding under the city of Albany, and I would like to know what the other towns and cities have gotten in the past, so we have a benchmark to see how
He wants to make a
the
comparison.
administration of this program in the future, whether there still is a broad countywide program.
Yeah, so-
That's the data
We
that I
can
would
give you
like.
our data and let you know our catchment area that we served, and when ACAP takes over, they will serve the entire county.
Right.
Yeah, so, sure.
Yeah, I can,
That's no problem.
I can run a report on, and do it by township and be able to provide those numbers. fairly
That's what I was
quickly.
asking, if
Yeah,
you
he
would
heard it.
get to
He
the,
just wrote it down for you. He's gonna follow up for you, okay?
Thank you.
Brandon will.
We'll wait till
Thank you.
guys.
Are there any more questions or concerns? Glad to see Joanne join us. Good. Do I hear a motion? Moved. Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. It
Thank
says
you.
Michael Good. Is Michael Good here?
Thank you.
Who's going to present for Michael Good on this number 4 item? Mr. McLaughlin, you got this one? All right.
Yeah, I can present, Chairman.
Michael
I'm
can
sorry.
take, oh, wait, you can take it as
I can
Michael.
take it on, not a problem.
I know you can handle this. Number 4, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the United States Department of Labor regarding the Homeless Veterans Reintegrated Program.
Right,
Reintegrated
okay.
program.
So this is actually a pretty good opportunity, we think, for the Department of, the Veterans Bureau.
Great.
So what would happen here is we would apply for what could be up to $250,000. And once we are notified of the amount of money that we receive, we'll be able to, we're gonna have to come back to you folks. And at that point, I'd like to provide you more details about what we're going to do with the funding, okay? But the reason it's kind of general right now is because our Veterans Bureau is only 4 people and
Yeah.
2 people currently employed because we have 2 vacancies because we had 2 recent departures. So if you forgive my lack of in-depth knowledge, or I guess analysis up to this point about what will be done with the funds, this is what I can tell you, is that will be something to do with veteran reintegration, re-entry for veterans who enter the criminal justice system, services for homeless veterans, mental health, PTSD, things of that nature, chemical dependency. It's all the kind of the buzzwords that we hear all the time about veteran services, but because the Veterans Bureau there'll also be some opportunities potentially for employment training and things of that nature, whether it be simple things like resumes or more in-depth things like assisting with employment searches and things of that nature. So, now again, we have a pretty lean and mean Veterans Bureau as it is, so once we understand the amount of money that we have, we'll be able to use that to figure out what we can do in-house, how we can leverage that funding with other community organizations, whether it be the VA, which is a big one. Of course, there's Albany Housing Coalition, Soldier On, which has functioning programs in the community. In fact, in our own correctional facility. So we're just asking permission to apply. Once we hear back how much it could be, or it will be, because we're hopefully going to get it, we'll let you know exactly what our plan for the funding is.
So we're basically just asking for permission. to
Just
submit
asking
the grant.
permission to submit the application.
Yeah, $500,000 grant. Anybody want to second that?
So moved.
So moved. I hear you saying. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you very much, Michael.